down to Weber. He turns. Look out behind the back. And the stake of the foul. What a play by Weber.
At 6'10", Chris Webber was a triple threat as a scorer, passer, and for his ability to run the floor, setting a new standard for power forwards in the NBA.
Chris was a big guy, but he still had tremendous versatility. He could defend, he could block shots, he could rebound. He was very unselfish.
From his early days in youth league ball, Webber showed he was way ahead of the competition.
This guy came in with the ability and the skill to go coast to coast and dunk the basketball at 13 years of age. At that moment, I knew that he was going to be a special player.
After starring at Detroit Country Day in high school, he would go on to the University of Michigan. As a member of the famed Fab Five, he helped lead the Wolverines to 2 national championship games while becoming a cultural icon for both his style and dominance on the court.
He played with the love, passion for the game of basketball, and it showed on the floor.
As the first overall pick in the 1993 draft, Webber would go on to win Rookie of the Year. Later, as a member of the Sacramento Kings, he was the centerpiece of a budding Western Conference power.
Chris was our all-star, the key player, that everything was around him. He helped everybody on the floor become better players, and he was a glue and keep that team together.
A 5-time NBA All-Star, Webber averaged more than 20 points per game for 9 consecutive seasons and earned the league rebounding title in 1999.
He was the spark that lit the imagination of so many other players coming up in the NBA. I credit Chris with changing that power forward position.
Sweating a little bit. I love you too. Thank you. I want to first thank God for His grace and mercy for allowing me to be here tonight. It is truly an honor. I'd like to thank the Naismith Hall of Fame. I'd like to thank Jerry Colangelo and basketball fans over the world for this wonderful honor. This award for me is not just about a game, a series, or a season. This represents to me the culmination of perseverance, excellence, and consistency. That's why I want to take time and thank those that God put in my life to help me get here. First, my parents, Mom and Daddy, I love you so much. I'm just going to keep it short. You showed me how to love. You prepared and you protected me. Dad, I watched you come home every day from the factory, the GM. Never crying about the what ifs, never crying about anything. Taking care of our family, you showed me how to be a man. I thank you and I love you. Mom is the oldest of your 5 children. I remember at a young age you explaining to me what teamwork and responsibility meant. Because my responsibility was a big one at the time. As the oldest of 5, I had to watch the kids and explain to them that even if it was just cooking, they had to shut up and be quiet because Mommy, even though you had 2 jobs, was working on another job, something called a master's. And I remember you being at home, babysitting, typing because you didn't have enough to pay. And I remember getting it done. That's work ethic. I love you. To my brothers, Jeff, Jason, David, my sister, Rachel, I love you guys, my nieces and nephew, Noble, Jordan, Colton, Casey, Laisha. To Detroit, what up, though? What up, though? To my, what up, though? Ashley, I love you. Charlene, your nephew, thanks you for everything that you've done for him. Pastor Londonwood, Donella Damon, Uncle Leroy Paul, Auntie Maddie Rochelle, and sweet Mickey, thank you. And to my lady, my baby Erica, my twins, I love you. Thank you for being a wonderful mother to our children. I'd like to tell all of you a story about a lady named Mrs. Stearns. Some may know I have an African-American history collection, and sometimes I take them to schools and I speak about the stories behind the faces. Well, Mrs. Stearns for me was a catalyst for my love for history. The first time I fell in love with sports was in her history class. She sparked my love for the history, hypocrisy, the reverence, the absolute power of sport. As class would wind down before class and recess, Ms. Stearns would wow us with stories from the past. We would beg her to tell us more about the greatest players to ever play. And looking back, she took advantage of it by putting that information that we shared up on test, and we'd even celebrate during Black History Month. She spoke of traveling all-star teams and music and food. She told me that we were blessed, that there was a time when, even if we had the obvious talent to compete, there was a gentleman's agreement among the owners that effectively banned blacks from the NBA, NFL, or MLB. She would whisper nightmares about the Klan chasing teams from city to city, or recount how it tore at men from the inside, not being able to do what they loved. She encouraged us to know our history. She wanted us to familiarize ourselves with some man named Jackie Robinson. She was proud of this man. She spoke of him with certainty and conviction, and one day after class, she asked me to stay after. I was worried. I thought I was in trouble, and thankfully that wasn't the case. She spoke kindly and softly and said, I know you get teased a lot, but I see something in you. Everyone does. You have to be like Jackie. You have to be strong. You got to pray, and don't let people get to you. They're going to try to get to you. He was special, and you are too. I didn't know why she told me all this. I didn't even play sports at the time. Then later, at the end of our discussion that day, Ms. Stearns pulled out a small picture box and opened it. And she showed me a picture inside and explained to me that the man wearing the photo, wearing a baseball hat in the photo, his name was Turkey Stearns. Turkey Stearns was her late husband. He started playing baseball professionally in 1920, retired in 1942. He played for the Detroit Stars and ended up with the Kansas City Monarchs. He's considered one of the greatest baseball players of all time. He batted over 403 times, led the Negro Leagues in home runs 7 times. He has 50 more home runs as the #1 hitter than whoever's in second place. To supplement his income, he worked summers in a factory owned by Walter Briggs, owner of the Detroit Tigers, a team that didn't employ blacks. Now, I know this seems like a down or a baseball story, but to me, this is just an example of God's grace in my life. You see, I was being filled with energy of those that had been in the struggle, not just from family and friends, but those in my village. Mrs. Stearns saw something in me before I saw it in myself. Her presence and expectations of my life's potential have stayed with me since our conversation in class that day. Not as a burden, but as validation, holding me to a standard. So how could I move forward after having people like that in my life and hearing first-hand accounts of dreams deferred to the past? How could I not think that I must pay it forward or honor those that have paved the way? And so tonight, just a few miles from Boston, how could I not thank the great Bill Russell, Red Auerbach? How could I not thank others? Yes, please clap for them. How could I not thank Spencer Haywood or Dr. Harry Edwards, Dr. John Carlos, or the Big O, and many other trailblazers that gave of themselves for us in the next generation. I'd like to thank Temple Christian, my coaches, my teammates there. I'd also like to thank Curtis Hervey, my AAU coach. Harv, the way I approached the game with preparation and toughness, that was you. Mr. Mont, you know I love you. Yapo, Kevin, Josh Colby, Antonio Ragland, Mike Jackson, Omar Wetlow, I love you guys as well. To the greatest high school coach in Michigan history, my coach, Coach Keenan. Thank you for being such a great coach, and Nidra, I thank you for having us back and having our back with all the food, the barbecues, and the honey buns. To the Honorable Dennis Archer and Trudy Archer, thank you for your support and your love and kindness. You helped my transition in high school. I'd like to tell you a story about Isaiah Thomas. He was my guardian angel. Only a few family and friends knew this, but my brothers and I were big fans of Isaiah. We would do everything that Isaiah did. I would even, after I got to the league, say hi, Mom, after every interview because he did it. Now you have to flash back. I'm 16 years old, and Zeke calls our house to speak to my parents and ask if he could come over and speak with us. He came over to our little shack on Biltmore, shout out 6 Mile, Evergreen, Finkel, Puritan. He came to the hood because I told him he was coming through. Everyone came out and bothered him. He was just cool, patient, and gracious. After speaking to my parents, Isaiah took me aside. You talked, you were kind. You said you understood what I was going through. You told me don't worry. You explained if I needed anything, you'd be there. Financially, mentally, spiritually. You explained that it's about the long run and I had to stay focused. You told me don't start believing the press. You told me keep doing my thing because we are more than hoopers. Zeke, I remember like it was yesterday. You said we. You gave me confidence. You validated my game through setting your expectation. And finally, you protected me from the vultures. You protected me from the vultures. That's why I never had to take a penny from anyone. You found me. You took time out of your life. You took pressure off of me and you planted a seed. And I've helped so many kids only because of your generosity and what you've shown me. Thank you, Isaiah. I love you. To the student body, the alumni, and the faculty and the staff at the University of Michigan, I flat out love you. It was my pleasure to don the number 4 jersey of the Maize and Blue. I loved every moment at the University of Michigan with my teammates, my brothers. First, I'd like to thank Coach Steve Fisher and his wife, Angie. Coach, your calm approach. Fisher, thank you. Coach, your calm approach, focus, and deliberate ways and intense practices allowed us to be ourselves. We could stick to instructions and just let it all hang out. Juwan Howard, Ray Jackson, Jalen Rose, Jimmy King, I love you. All of my former teammates at Michigan, I love you. I can't believe what we accomplished. I'm proud. I'm always asked, what do I think of the Fab Five? And very honestly, I know it was a wild ride, but I stole an email from a friend of mine, Peter Gilbert. I snuck an email, and I'd just like to read to the fellas what he wrote, and I can't believe he got it. The Fab Five is one of the iconic stories of modern-day sports history. 5 young black men who changed the fabric and culture of sport in American society. 5 men that changed the game of basketball. Fab Five had a brash audacity in everything they did. They played basketball like a house on fire. It was joyful. The Fab Five were not puppets of the system. They played their game. They played as though they knew deep inside that they represented a new day ahead. Basketball was not just a game, but a statement. And when we played ball, you saw our lives played out on the court. Each one of them represented their families, mentors, and community. Basketball was a culmination of their unique individual upbringing. They were a movement whether they knew it or not. There were love letters and death threats. They were embraced by many, vilified and hated by more. They played as though they knew deep inside that they are representing a new day ahead. Guys, I still see vestiges of our game, and I'm just so proud of what we've done. I thank the University of Michigan, I thank the fans, I thank the students, and I love being part of this family. When I got to the NBA, it was just a great community, and as a rookie, I had so many people to help me. I'd like to thank the late David Stern for all he's done for the game. I'd like to thank Commissioner Adam Silver, but anyone who knows the NBA intimately knows that we are a league of men, but we have some boss women running things around here. So I really like to thank Leah Wilcox and Chris Bosh. I love me some Leah Wilcox and Chris Bosh. I'd also like to thank Felicia Irwin, Bill Strickland, and Reverend Earl Smith. I'd like to thank the fans of Golden State, Mully, Spree, and Billy O. I'd like to thank the city of D.C., Chocolate City. You see, I played for a lot of teams. My teammates, Ben Wallace, Strickland, Strychnine, Juwan, Legs, T. Murray, Murasam, Witt, Cheney, and D-Ham. Buzz Brayman, I thank you for helping me get that jumper nice. It's because of you I can stand here. And now to the best fans in the world, to the Sacramento Kings. I just want to talk a little bit about God's grace. I want to talk about the fact that God has to lead you, and you're not always supposed to know where you're going or how good it's going to be when you come out on the other side. It's just about trusting him, trusting God, trusting the process. Sacramento, my faith will forever be strong because God gave me you. Jay Will, what's up, baby? Vlade, Peja, Bibby, Bobby Jack, Doug Christie, Sign Lady, Jeff Petrie, Coach Adelman. Thank you for just bringing that style to our game. Erica Bjork, thank you for allowing my charities to do so well and to work with the communities. And thank you for keeping me connected to the Sacramento community. Thank the Philadelphia 76ers. AI, you were the best player I ever played with, and then it was an honor to rock with you every day on the court. And I'll just skip and say finally, the Pistons and Joe D, Chauncey, Rip, it was an honor to be able to play in my city with you guys. Thank you. To my man, Charles Barkley, I'm honored to have you welcome me into the Hall of Fame. You changed the way the game was played from a power forward position. Personally, you've shown me the way in life more than once. The first time was high school. Rick Mahorn brought you by and I got a chance to meet you. I studied your game, I knew your truth, I knew your attitude, and you complimented me and encouraged me. And for the first time after seeing you, I thought, hey, maybe I could do this if my favorite player says I can. The second time, I just want to thank you on behalf of all athletes for what you've done with life after basketball. I've never left basketball, and I've been a part of the NBA for close to 30 years between playing and commentating. The reason I've had such longevity is because of you. You wrote the playbook. Be honest, be yourself, and whatever happens, happens. Charles, I know others opened the door for you as far as athletes and commentators, but personally, Charles, everything changed with you. So on behalf of any athlete on TV today that gets to share their opinion based on their experience, I want to give you your flowers and say thank you. You've made millions for many. Thank you. I'll be quick. And speaking of commentating, the journey after life, I'd like to thank Marv Albert, my partner on air for the last several years. You were a joy to work with. I learned so much from you. Our discussions on basketball were some of the best. Dick Stockton, Reggie Miller, thank you for showing me how to prepare for games. Steve Kerr, Kevin Harlan, and the many producers, directors, and PAs that work with me. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank my business partners, Lavetta Willis, Jason Weil. You guys, we've done some big things, and to follow in the footsteps of those like Magic Johnson and Dave Bing, Isaiah Vinnie Johnson, and Junior Bridgman is an aspiration. And thank you guys for setting the bar and taking your game out of the league, but excelling in business as well. And lastly, it would be unfair if I didn't talk, or it wouldn't be right. I'd be remiss if I didn't get to talk about moments that raised you. I talked about all the wonderful people that helped put into my life. And again, Kevin, Yapo, Adrian, Vince, if I missed anyone else in high school, I'm sorry. But there are moments that raise you as well. Moments when you have to stand alone, moments when you can't cop out, moments when all you can do is stand, moments when you question everything. There's no guarantee in winning. Sports is the most fair platform because it's unfair to everyone. I know a little bit about that, but it's all about the commitment. It's all about the moments when people doubt you. Wins aren't guaranteed, but losses are. And I'm just here to tell you, no matter who you are, a champion like Kevin Garnett, or Isaiah, or Paul Pierce, Ben Wallace, or a guy like myself that just went through the league and did my thing, you're going to have to bounce back. And I would hope for many athletes that you do take mental health very seriously and you get help. But also, I would like to tell others, thank you. But also I'd like to tell others that hopefully you can embrace sport. Embrace the fact that there's no guarantee. And face the fact that that's why we get to work early and leave late. Embrace the fact that I'm still the same dude that had to go up against KG, Tim, Shaq, Akeem, all these guys in a week. Just embrace the journey. Embrace it, embrace it, embrace it. Do not run from it. And if anybody ever wants to know how I feel, there's a song by Marvin Sapp. It goes, I never should have made it. I never would have made it without you. I would have lost it all. But now I see you were there for me. And I can say, I'm stronger, I'm wiser, I'm better, I'm so much better. When I look back at all you brought me through, I can see now that you were the one I held on to. Thank you very much.
Growing up in Inglewood, California, Paul Pierce dreamed of someday playing for his hometown Lakers. But after a decorated college career at Kansas, fate had other plans as he embraced a team he once rooted against, the Boston Celtics.
Paul completely understood what a Boston Celtic was and what it took.
Pierce on the drive, and he hits.
Pierce for the game.
Pierce soon stood out as one of the most gifted young scorers in the league, and putting his team on his back became a personal trademark. In 2002, his 19 fourth-quarter points in Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals led the Celtics on an historic comeback. It was the type of gutsy performance that earned him a legendary nickname.
Paul Pierce is the truth. Nothing you can do. Nobody in the country can stop him. You better believe it.
Look at Harrington. He's talking to Pierce, who's talking to each other. Show me what you got. Pierce pulls up for a three, and that's what I've got.
He had the makeup to hit big pressure shots at any time.
Pierce takes it. At the buzzer, Paul Pierce for the game. Got it!
His competitiveness just spilled out. And I said, man, if we ever get the right group, Paul Pierce is going to be amazing.
By 2007, Pierce's reputation as a scorer was well established, but he was still chasing that elusive title. As team captain, he saw a new opportunity and took control.
Paul is a motivator, and he encouraged everybody to be their best, and he wanted everybody to be on their best.
Come on, put an extra 30 minutes on practice. Because ain't no stop.
He's going to have you playing above your level.
Paul Pierce making every big play for the Celtics.
That's how you do it. That's how you fight. Let's go.
Later that season, Pierce led the Celtics to their first NBA championship in 22 years, winning Finals MVP.
Banner number 17, soon to be raised to the rafters.
A 10-time All-Star, Pierce ranked 16th on the NBA's all-time scoring list and second on the Celtics' all-time scoring list, behind just John Havlicek.
He wanted to be a Celtic, and he wanted to win a title as a Celtic, and he accomplished that.
Thank you. This is an honor. This is true honor, man. First and foremost, I'm humbled and honored to be here tonight. I mean, never in my wildest dreams did I think I'll be a Hall of Famer. You know, the initial dream as a kid is to make it to the league. I mean, you don't really dream too far, like, I want to be a Hall of Famer. You don't say that as a kid. You know, now to be enshrined in basketball lore is more than I can ever imagine. Let me just start off and thank you to Hall of Fame and the committee that voted for me. Appreciate that. You know, you guys got it right. I'd like to especially thank the late, great David Stern and Adam Silver. David, that was a great handshake. Best handshake I ever had, by the way. Start off with my mom. My mom, she couldn't be here tonight. You know, she's still here. She's getting older, couldn't travel. But I want to start off by telling you I love you. I know you had a lot of sleepless nights dealing with me, and I appreciate the sacrifices that you made, your hard work, your dedication, your stubbornness that made me the man I am today. I also like to apologize for burning down our house when I was 7 years old. Oh man, I don't remember ever apologizing for that, but I guess God knew I had to repay you somehow. So I'm grateful to have made it to the league and got you a new one. Thank you, Mom. That's a true story. I was playing with matches. Next thing you know, I'm out in front and the house is coming down. All the kids in the neighborhood called me an arsonist. I didn't know what that was at the time. I didn't. I was 7 years old. To my two older brothers, Steve and Jamal. Steve, I'd like to thank you for setting the bar. My second oldest brother, he was drafted by the San Francisco Giants and drafted number 14. Not a lot of people know this, but he set the bar in the family. You know, he played AAA, up and down, AA, AAA, some MLB, but he set the bar for the family, and he gave me a vision, you know, gave me an inspiration, something I could reach for. And so I'd like to thank you for setting that bar, Steve. My other brother, Jamal, thank you. So my oldest brother, Jamal, you know, my brothers we didn't really grow up together. We were like 7 years apart, 9 years apart, so they were out the house. But Jamal, I'd like to thank you, man. I'll never forget the words you always ask me. You know, you always ask me all the time, do you want to be good or do you want to be great? And I said, you know, I want to be great. And I've always maintained that I wanted to be great, and that's what kept me driven and focused throughout my career. So thank you for, you know, those words and installing that into me. To my Uncle Mike, you know, I didn't have a father figure. He was my father figure. You know, I'd like to thank my Uncle Mike for being there. You know, one of the most instrumental moments in my life is when you put up that court in the backyard and allow me to work on my skills every day. I remember you going out to the garage sale, getting a cardboard and throwing it on the garage, finding a rim and throwing it up there. Didn't have a net at the time, but, you know, I had something to shoot on. So I thank you for that and being a father figure. Pat Roy, my high school coach, was in the building. P. Roy, I remember 11th grade, we were playing one-on-one on the side court. You would always beat me young, but then I finally got the best of you. And you told me after that, you was like, you can be in the NBA. And you know, at that point, I never thought about being in the NBA. I just wanted to go to college. You planted the seed. You made me believe, like, man, really? You really believe I can go to the NBA? So, you know, I'm thankful for that, man. You know, that wasn't the vision at first, you know what I mean? That seed you planted, you made me believe, and, you know, the rest is history. I appreciate that. Thank you, Coach. Scott Collins, a local police, Inglewood PD. You're one of the biggest influences in my life, a mentor, a guy who would come to the gym with me at 6 in the morning, open up the gym, my workout partner. He was a mentor for all the neighborhood kids too. You know, he would cut our hair, you know, with guys that had money to go to the barber. He'd open up the gym 6 in the morning before he even had to go to work as an Inglewood PD. You know, I thank him so much for being a positive influence. You know, I think it's important for kids to have certain positive influences in their life, you know, especially when you grow up in neighborhoods that's gang infested, drug infested. You know, it's important to keep people like that in your life. So Scott, thank you for, you know, keeping me off the street. You know, I played volleyball for him. He was in the PAL League. I don't know if anybody know what the PAL League, Police Athletic League, when we grew up. You know, he kept me off the streets. We played volleyball, baseball, and, you know, it was more than just basketball, you know, just keeping us busy. So thank you. I'll never forget those Lakers socks you got me. Also, growing up a Laker fan, I remember wearing those socks for a week straight. You know, thank you. You know, that was inspirational. So, you know, I appreciate that. Jay Crow, my best friend, growing up right here. Another, you know, thank you for being a positive influence, man. You know, like I said, you're my best friend. We could have strayed into the gang and street life, but we chose a different path. You weren't highly recruited, but I think we really pushed each other. We didn't have trainers like they did today, but we pushed each other. We would wake up 6 in the morning, run the sand dunes, go to the gym 12 at night. We pushed each other to be great. And you wind up from a guy who wasn't really recruited to having a 12-year pro career, you know, overseas. And, you know, we maxed out. We maxed out, man. So Roy Williams, my college coach, thank you for teaching me the game of basketball. You know, I came in as a McDonald's All-American to Kansas. I thought I knew everything. Come to find out I didn't know much. I didn't even know how to, you know, come off a down screen. But you know when I knew you were the coach for me, I signed with Kansas, and I knew you were the coach for me. When you came to the game, Inglewood versus Compton, a packed, rowdy gym, and I looked up, you was the only white guy in the gym. I was like, I'm gonna go hard for him. I'm gonna go hard for him. I knew you was a coach for me. So man, thank you for always being honest with me. You know, every coach that came in promised me a starting spot. You promised me an education. You said, I don't know if you're gonna start, and that's why I trusted you. So thank you, Coach. Appreciate that. Celtics. Coming out of college, I was a first-team All-American, projected #2 pick. And so I like to thank the Clippers, Vancouver, Grizzlies, Denver Nuggets, Toronto Raptors, Golden State Warriors, Dallas Mavericks, Sacramento Kings, Philadelphia 76ers, and Milwaukee Bucks. The 9 teams that passed on me. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for passing on me and adding fuel to my fire. I appreciate that. I'd like to thank Rick Pitino, the coach at the time, Lester Connor, for going out on the limb and drafting me. To this day, I don't understand how I slipped to #10. I'm like, I was in shape, my shot was falling, I was running the line drills. I was like, how did I slip to 10? But you know, everything happened for a reason. You know, everything happened for a reason. You know, going to the Celtics, I'm grateful. Danny Ainge, Whit Grossbeck, Steve Faliuka, thank you for believing in me. I honestly thought Danny was going to trade me. You know, he came in and just traded everybody. Traded Antoine. I was like, man, it's over for me. But y'all stuck with me. You know, we went through some tough times, and I appreciate you. You know, it took 10 years for you to bring this guy around. I mean, I told y'all in 2006, if we get him, we gonna win it. True story. I was like, hey, I mean, we had arguments on who was gonna go to, if I was gonna go to Minnesota or he gonna come to Celtics, and you know, it worked out. But anyway, Doc, I can't even lie, man. We didn't start off on the best footing. I know you wanted to trade me too. I know you did. I know you did. I mean, I was accustomed to doing things my way, didn't like someone coming in telling me what to do. However, when I started to listen to you and understand your criticism as coaching, that's when I became great. So thank you. Also, this one I knew you as a player's coach. You know, I remember coming in to shoot around one time, hungover, and we had a game that morning, and we was running a play. And, you know, the play I was supposed to go through, cut through. And so we run the play, and I go to one knee. And he looked at me. He's like, Paul, what you doing? He's like, Paul, come here. I'm like, oh, man. You know, I'm kind of covering my breath. I know it's banging. So I kind of stopped short. He was like, Paul, go home and be ready for tonight. Get some rest. And I was like, thanks, coach. And I ran out of there. I'm telling you, I had 30 that night. We won. I was like, players coach. To all my teammates I ever played with and coaches I played for, there's too many to name, so I like to thank all of you. I think that goes without saying, KG, you were the most influential. You know, I apologize to you also. I remember we were kids and we went to Vegas and we jumped out the cab and ran and didn't pay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being a bad influence to a country guy that young. I never apologize, so man. I hope you understand. We didn't have no money at the time, so we were just trying to get the circus. But anyways, I appreciate you, man. So Derek and Tony T, thank you for saving my life. I thank you. I think you all know what I mean. In 2001, I was stabbed 11 times. They got me to the hospital, and you know, that woke me up. That helped me realize how precious life was. And I appreciate that. Without them, I probably wouldn't be standing here today. I went on to play 82 games that year. There was no time management. What did you say? Load management, right. I didn't know nothing about that. I wound up playing 82 games, so I appreciate that. I appreciate life a lot more because of that incident. To my agent, Jeff Swartz, when I met you, you had 2 clients, dude. Look where you at today, on top of the world. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Oh, my goodness. And thank you for being on this journey with me. You know, I like to say how thankful I am to the mothers of my children who are right here. I'd like to thank, I appreciate you all. To my kids, Brianna, Jazzy, Prince, Soleil, 3 girls, 1 boy. I remember Ray Allen said, when I had the 2 girls and a boy, he said, if you ever needed a boy, I could be there for you. I think he got like 4 or 5 boys. I was like, whatever, Ray, whatever. You ever need a girl, holla at me. Oh man, one last thing. I got to pull this off my phone. I wrote this, so bear with me. You know, just I guess, you know, my last words are, you know, to my kids, never doubt that you are valuable and powerful and deserving every chance and opportunity in the world to pursue and achieve your dreams. Remember, you only fail when you stop trying. Never forget that whatever you go through, no matter what, I will always love you. Thank you.
Chosen 4th overall in the legendary 2003 NBA Draft, Chris Bosh became the face of the Toronto Raptors franchise. Dominating as a prolific scorer, rebounder, and a feared rim protector.
Chris was that start of that evolution of that face big, that stretch big. He showed everyone there was a different level of big coming to the game.
Step back move for the win.
He was very agile. The fact that he was left-handed, shooting threes, taking you off the dribble, it made it very difficult.
Here's Bosh against Garnett on a drive to the top of the line.
After 7 seasons with the Raptors, Bosh moved on to Miami, where he added his talent to a soon-to-be legendary lineup. It was Bosh's ability to adjust his game that helped make the Heat chemistry click.
Big rebound, big assist, big block. Those were the kinds of things that he did.
Wade towards the course. Bosh for 3 in the win. Yes! Yes! He did it! A mighty kaboom!
A 2-time NBA champion, Bosh played a key role in one of the most memorable plays in finals history.
Puts up a 3. Won't go. Rebound Bosh. Back out to Allen. His 3-pointer. Bang!
The biggest rebound in NBA history. His effort to go get that rebound. His mindset to find Ray Allen in that split second.
He was the most important person on the floor at that time. That rebound was what won us that championship. He's everything in that whole sequence.
An 11-time All-Star, Chris Bosh also won a gold medal in 2008 as a member of the U.S. Olympic team.
Hard work.
He's truly an incredible teammate. Chris Bosh will go down in the history of the Miami Heat as one of the greatest big men that we've ever had.
All right. Good evening. Oh, man. You know, first off, I want to start by thanking these 2 gentlemen up here for presenting me this evening. You know, with Ray, he's been a great teammate and a great friend. And best of all, he made the Game 6 shot. So, you know, that's great. And man, you know, Pat Riley, When I first met Pat, I was 19 years old, interviewing for the draft, and I remember being so nervous. Even my family members were always starstruck every time they see him. And we've had tremendous experiences together, and in honor of everything, I actually have a gift for you. For some context, when I met Pat during free agency in 2010, he pulled out every trick, you know, and it was quite the performance. And as I was starting to stand up to leave from the meeting, he pulled out one last trick. He took out this velvet bag full of championship rings and dumped them all across the table. And he picked one up, you know, and he looked me dead in my eye and he said, "You give it back to me when we win one together." Now, when I think about it, it was crazy because I hadn't even agreed to sign with Miami. But that's Pat, you know, and we did win a ring together, 2 of them. But I never gave back the one he loaned me because, you know, for whatever reason, I wanted to wait till the right moment, and, you know, I figured this would be a good moment. Oh, man. I want you guys to know a little bit more about me. When I was a kid, I used to take Slam magazines and I carefully rip out the pictures in the middle of my heroes, and I would put them on walls as my posters. In fact, some of those heroes are here right now. A lot of them are. You know, I'll never be able to describe just how much the game you built means to me, how much it's done for me. But while I'm so grateful all of you are in this building, I'm thinking of the ones as well who are not. In particular, Kobe Bryant. He was such an inspiration for my generation, and I'm sure all of us in this room. So, I'd like to share a lesson I learned from him. It was 2008. The Redeem team was formed. And we were in Vegas for the start of training camp, and we were getting ready for the Olympics in Beijing. We're going to head to Beijing. And I wanted to establish myself as a young leader on the team by waking up bright and early, day one. So the goal was to be the first one at breakfast. So I set my alarm. I make sure I'm up by sunrise. I get out of bed. I put on my gear and I head downstairs. But when I get there, Kobe's already there, with ice packs on his knees, drenched in sweat. Now, it took me a minute to figure it out, but this guy wasn't only awake before me. He had already worked out. He had just played in the finals days earlier. Meanwhile, I'd been off for months and I was still exhausted. What he had done that morning was incomprehensible to me. That dedication he had only days after falling short of an NBA championship. That taught me something I've never forgotten. Legends aren't defined by their successes. They're defined by how they bounce back from their failures. And that's what I hope to communicate to anyone watching this, especially the kids. When you look back on my career, when you visit Springfield and see my plaque, it's going to seem inevitable that I ended up here. And that's how I felt about my heroes growing up. I thought they were automatically destined for greatness. But as I've been reflecting on my career, I've realized the accomplishments were anything but guaranteed. The highs I've experienced, they were only possible by how I bounced back from the lows. From those moments when I wondered if it was worth it, or if I was wasting my time, or if I was good enough. The moments when I feared I would never grow into the person or the player I knew I could become. And one of those moments happened a few years after those Olympics, when I was the one who had just lost a championship in 2011. I never thought that we would get that far and lose. And as soon as the buzzer went off, you know, I just broke down. And unfortunately for me, the cameras caught it. There's even a video of it on YouTube called something like Chris Bosh Cries Like a Little Girl, which, you know, I find offensive. To little girls, I'm sure you could agree. Lauren, I've never seen, you know, Yolanda, I've never seen you cry like that at all. At that moment, I didn't feel like an all-star. I didn't feel like a champion. I felt like I was 11 years old again, crying after losing the game on Saturdays at Biddy Basketball in St. Phillips. And we lost a lot of games. But that's the kind of kid I was. You know, basketball was everything to me, and I put my soul into it. I would watch all the games I could, college, pros, over 40 leagues, church leagues. Sometimes I go to the library and even look up old stats. I still remember them too. You know, in 1968, Bill Russell averaged more than 19 rebounds as a coach. Spo, you got to pick it up, man. And while we're here, I got to say it. Hey, Chris Webber, we're going into the Hall of Fame with Bill Russell, bro. That's crazy. You know, to me, players like you guys and the ones you paved the way for were superheroes. And I spent every moment trying to follow in your footsteps. I dribbled for hours in my driveway, and it was this like rock, dirt mix. And if your handle wasn't perfect, you'd be chasing the ball all day. I play in the park from sun up to sundown, no matter how hot it got. And it gets hot in my hometown, Hutchins, Texas. My family's here, you can ask. Basketball wasn't what I did, it was who I was. Anything with an NBA logo on it, that was like currency to me. You know, Jordans were the dream, which I knew my parents weren't gonna buy. I'd ask for jerseys too, and that wasn't happening either. Till this one day, under the Christmas tree, my preteen prayers were answered. Folded neatly in this little box was a Lakers jersey. Man. And you know, as I'm taking it out, I'm just so excited. I'm like, man, is it Magic? Is it Kareem? Is it Worthy? I look at both sides, and it just said Lakers. No name, no number, just Lakers. Man, but I still felt like Magic when I put it on. I even go outside and play a little bit. And I was so proud until I wore it to school. But that didn't take away my love for the game. Every Saturday I watch Inside Stuff with Amir Rashad and go practice the moves I just watched. I once saw this skinny kid dribbling it up the court, 19 years old. Some guy named Kevin Garnett, and nobody could tell me anything after that. I even had a copy on VHS tape of Hoop Dreams, and I'd watch it over and over, obsessively. Did you know Juwan Howard's in that movie? Does anybody know that? Check it out. And you know, before I knew it, I was playing in big high school games like the one in that movie myself, alongside one of my best friends, Gino Gray. He's here today. At Lincoln High School, we suffered a heartbreaking loss. LHS, what up? At Lincoln High School, we suffered a heartbreaking loss in our junior season, one game short of a championship. And I remember after the game, Gino asking me like, yo, man, why are you crying after every game? And I told him it was because I felt like I wasn't enough, you know? I felt like all the work that I put in was for nothing. But I never took that to mean that I was wasting my time. I took it to mean that I should put in more time, that I should work even harder. And the next year, that's what we did. In 2002, our team captured the Texas State Championship and a national title after a perfect 40-0 season. Now, I want to put that into context as well. A team from a public school in South Dallas with no air conditioning in the gym achieved that together against all odds. My coaches, Leonard Bishop and Farron Douglas, are here today. Please clap for them. Playing the game the way that they taught us was the only path for us, the only path to a college scholarship. And my parents told me that's the only way I'm going to go to school. And I got that scholarship. I got to attend the Georgia Institute of Technology and play in the ACC. My coach, Paul Hewitt, he's also here today. I still remember them giving us these little key cards, and you could put it up to the lock, and the gym door would open. You know, it felt like magic. The gym with AC in it, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It was magic to me. Coach Hewitt had to kick me out all the time. I wouldn't leave. You know, I wanted to put in more work, and that work paid off. Less than a year later, I was drafted by the Toronto Raptors, and after shaking David Stern's hand, I got my second NBA jersey. And this one had a name on it. Bosh. Okay, it was actually my second jersey. I bought a Ben Wallace jersey back in high school, white, authentic. Ben, what up? Still, what I want you to know is that after losing the championship in 2011, I wasn't patting myself on the back for how far I come. I was figuring out how to get even further the next year. Now, I wasn't at the gym at 4 a.m. I was in San Tropez. I just married the love and light of my life, Adrienne Bosh, who's here today as well. And, you know, we had to rebuild from a tough season. You know, brunches and boats and beautiful views, that'll do it for you. It's good for the spirit. Because I knew the whole time we were there, as soon as I got back, I was about to work harder than I ever had. And the rest is history. Heat Nation, are you here? I mean, you remember 27-game winning streak, 4 finals in a row, 11 consecutive All-Star games, and that's if you're a numbers person. Got to have big plays in the finals, back-to-back championships. But most importantly, we put touches on a super team of our own with a hell of a starting five. Trinity, Jackson, Dillon, Phoenix, and Lennox. The future. Now, listing out those accomplishments, I know they might seem like they were inevitable too, but I promise you, between each of them, there was a lifetime of work that wasn't seen. Putting in those long days and late nights, fighting that feeling that everything could come crashing down in one moment. And unfortunately for me, it did. When the doctor told me I would have to choose between risking my life every time I stepped on the court or retiring from the game at age 31. You know, after working as hard as I could, the training, the practices, the weight sessions, the bus rides, the film, going back at night to work on my game. After finally making it to the mountaintop, with so much more to do in my mind, so much more to prove, suddenly it all stopped. By now, I don't have to tell you that there were plenty of tears that day, and in the days since. But in going through those crossroads, I eventually came to realize that we all have it in our power to make the most out of every day, despite what happens, to turn setbacks into strengths. Because in a way, that's the lesson I've been learning my whole life. It's what I was talking to Gino about in high school. It's what I learned from Kobe at the Olympics. It's what Adrian reminded me of after that visit to the doctor. And you know what? It's come true. And I'd like to think that all of those tears from me crying after a pickup game in Hutchins, Texas, at Highland Hills Recreation Center on Saturday, after my dad would pick me up from open gym, the tears on that Laker jersey after the kids made fun of me, the tears on national TV after losing that championship, the tears that came after not being able to play the game anymore. They weren't endings, they were beginnings. They weren't moments that made me want to stop working. They were moments that made me want to work even harder. And when I think about it, they were more than tears. They were the water that made it possible for the seeds of greatness inside me to grow. And they're the reason that that little kid with those thin makeshift posters on the wall is standing in front of his heroes tonight as a member of the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. Thank you very much.
The 1996 draft is renowned for its parade of Hall of Famers, champions, and All-Stars. But it was also a beginning of the unlikely story of the man who never heard his name called that night.
Ben Wallace, he was a guy who came in and proved everybody wrong. He didn't have fear for nobody. You can see that from his eyes, that this guy is here for business.
The 10th of 11 children growing up in Whitehall, Alabama, Wallace went on to play his college ball away from the spotlight at Cuyahoga Community College and at an HBCU, Virginia Union. Once in the NBA, it wasn't until his 5th season when everything clicked in Detroit.
He took pride in trying to be the best shot blocker and rebounder on both ends of the floor. I don't think many people have done it any better.
Ben sliding away! He crushed it! The Pistons' all-time shot blocker!
It was a big man's game when Ben came into the league. He's 6'8". So for him to be the force that he became, battling with those guys, he was our heart and soul.
Pistons kind of took on his mentality of how hard he worked, and they really embraced that.
In 2004, he was a catalyst of the Pistons team that shocked the powerful Los Angeles Lakers to win the NBA title.
My team is all about hard work, going out, working for everything that you want, and appreciating everything that you have.
Wallace earned a record 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards, a distinction he shares with Dikembe Mutombo.
One of the greatest competitors this league has ever seen.
His journey is as incredible as anyone's that I've heard. To take that path, to go that route, it's an amazing story.
I love you too. Never gets old. Never get old. Detroit basketball never gets old. First of all, I just want to say thanks to our God and Savior for giving me an opportunity, for my mother for believing in me, to my family who motivated me, to my friends. Y'all know what y'all did to me. To my coaches who held me back to make me prove myself. To my family that kept me nurtured and kept me strong.
I just want to say thanks to basketball. I just want to be honest with basketball. Basketball was not my life path. Basketball was just in my life path. I took basketball and I created a path for those who helped me. I took, I received, I gave back. I laid a path, I laid a track. It should be easy to find. I was stuck in it for quite some time. When I move forward, no is not an option. I keep marching. Lions, fight. Dogs, fight. The Virginia University Panthers, we march. And if you follow, I'll lead. If you lead, I'll follow. You guide me, and I will finish when I get there. Life is not all about basketball. My life path has not always been about basketball. As a young kid, not having the ability to speak and express myself, but having a lot to say, for I was proud of myself, where life didn't give me a chance from the start. I kept fighting, I kept winning, I kept succeeding, I kept teaching, I kept giving back. Life is not all about taking. Life is not all about conquering. Life is about competing. Life is precious. Have fun, enjoy. Let's uplift our kids. Be strong, be motivated. Stand tall. This is what my mama taught me. Stand tall, stick your chest out, hold your head up. Now do it again. Stand tall, stick your chest out, keep your head up. If you build it and you can't tear it down, you got lost at the top. It's lonely at the top. Real leaders lead from the bottom. I take all my brothers and my sisters, my mothers and my fathers. I take them with me. For when I fall, you keep marching. Leave me there. I'll get up. I'll be stronger. I'll keep marching. Life is not hard. Life is very simple. Life is what you give it. Life is what you take from it. You give life. You take from life. How much do you take? How much do you leave behind? One blessing at a time. The toughest part of life is the most underrated part of life that you would ever hear about. Winning look good. Legacies are built. Legacies are built to last. But what type of legacy are you building? What protects your legacy? I tell you my legacy. I wasn't welcome. I was too small. I couldn't play the game the way they wanted me to play the game. Sound like an uneven game to me. Put me on a level playing field, and I'll show you. Panthers march.
Toni got it, put it up, look out, he got it! It's a three, they win! Bulls win!
Clutch shots were certainly part of Toni Kukoc's repertoire, but the 6'11" lefty from Split, Croatia could do it all. Early in his career, he was a legend overseas as a 3-time EuroLeague MVP.
It's so much fun playing with him because you just have to enter the hole at the right moment and you know the ball is going to be there.
Kukoc went on to win Olympic silver medals in 1988 and 1992 and led Yugoslavia to gold in the 1990 FIBA World Championship, where he was the tournament MVP.
We're always looking at the next generation of players. Toni showed that if you're a great player, it doesn't matter where you come from.
Very happy to be here, to have a chance to play for world champion, Chicago Bulls.
After starring on the world stage, it was time for Kukoc to test his game in the NBA. And in his first season, he proved he was ready for playoff pressure.
Kukoc for the win!
He went on to play a key role in 3 Chicago championships in 1996 through 98, while picking up a 6th Man of the Year award along the way.
We don't win without Toni. No one sacrificed more than what Toni Kukoc did. Coming off the bench, he accepted it and he embraced it. One of the best international players to ever come and play in America. His success speaks for that. He's one of the greatest to ever do it.
First, I would like to congratulate my fellow inductees for the great achievements. And I would like to thank the European Hall of Fame Committee for choosing me for the 2021 class. My father was instrumental in instilling in me the love of sports. I'm going to tell you a little story about my father. He was crazy about our soccer home team. And my school was really close to my home. So once I was in a class taking an exam, my father climbed the rooftop of the building, and once our team scored, he yelled, "Toni, we are up 1-0. After we scored again, he yelled again. By that time, obviously, teacher, of course, realized what's going on, and to stop him disrupting the whole class, she actually sent me home, sent me out. Thank God I passed the test. But that was my dad. That is my dad. I started with sports when I was 8, playing table tennis and soccer. At age of 15, I picked up basketball. My career is defined by 2 teams and 2 cities. City of Split, Croatia, my hometown, and my team Jugoplastika, and of course, Chicago, Illinois, and Chicago Bulls. To me, City of Split is one of the biggest sports cities in the world, and it produced so many great athletes in many sports. At my beginnings, my instrumental coaches were Igor Karkovic, Petar Bezelj, and Zoran Graša. Slavko Trnić was the coach who taught me the fundamentals of basketball and was instrumental in developing me in the good basketball player that I was. I was fortunate enough to have many great coaches, like late Krešimir Ćosić, Moka Slavnić, and 2 coaches that I won everything in Europe with, Božidar Maljković and Željko Pavličević. At this time, I want to express my gratitude to all my teammates who pushed me as a youngster every day to be a better player, a better person, and a better teammate. Dino Raja is the most known among them and my fellow Hall of Famer, but I love and respect all of them. Thank you. In my international career, I played for the 2 countries, Yugoslavia and Croatia, and I had great success with both. I would like to thank my national team coaches, Rusin Halilovic, Svetislav Pešić, Dušan Ivković with Yugoslavia, and with Croatian national team, Petar Skansi, Aleksandar Petrović, and Pino Đerđa. Of course, I had opportunity to play with some great players on those national teams. Some of the fellow Hall of Famers like late Dražen Petrović, Dino Raja, Vlade Divac, but many other great players. At this time, I would like to thank this gentleman here, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, for kicking my butt during the Olympics in Barcelona and then motivating me to work even harder to become an important part of the Chicago Bulls. My sincere gratitude goes to Mr. Jerry Reinsdorf and the late Jerry Krause for insisting on bringing me to the Bulls and believing in me as a player when it wasn't common for non-American players to play in the NBA. City of Chicago, thank you. Thank you. City of Chicago and its people have welcomed me and my family from the beginning, and I want to thank Bulls fans for their continued support. I had 3 unbelievable years winning the championships and playing for some great coaches, greatest coaches in basketball, Phil Jackson and late Tex Winter, and practicing and learning from the greatest players, again, Hall of Famers Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, but the others as well. I always said that our practices at that time were harder than many games that we played. Also, I would like to mention other teams that I was a part of. Benetton Treviso, Philadelphia 76ers, Atlanta Hawks, and Milwaukee Bucks. I had a great time playing for these teams, and I want to thank them all. Many thanks, thank you. Many thanks go to my agents, late Luciano Capicchioni and Herb Rudoy. There are many other people that I didn't mention today, but they all helped me along the way, and they all have my gratitude. And for my friends who are here tonight, making this night even more special, thank you all for coming. My love and my thanks goes to my parents, my dad Ante, my mom Radeka, and my sister Sandra for the great sacrifice and continuous love and support. To my kids, my son Marin, my daughter Stella, I love you guys. You make me proud each and every day. And to my wife Renata, my high school sweetheart, we have known each other for a well and long time. You were with me from beginnings, through all my ups and downs, and we did everything together. I love you. I always cared about team success over the individual goals, and now when I'm standing here, I can say I was right. I'm incredibly humbled to receive this honor, the greatest in all of sports, and I thank you all. Thank you.